chapter, and how folks can participate in that.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Dr. Youngblood for hosting this. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight.
I'm Bill Korak of the Report Card, bringing truth to the classroom. We're at the First Conservative Church of Jacksonville, where Brigitte Gabriel of Act for America is about to speak about radical Islamic subversion in American public schools. We join Randy McDaniels of Act for America in Jacksonville as he introduces Brigitte Gabriel.
What you will hear about is threats from those who want to promote Sharia Islamic law. This is not a First Amendment issue that we speak about, but a Sixth Amendment issue, which says the Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land. And those who support Sharia want to replace the Constitution and make it the law of the land. And those groups that we're looking at, most of the major groups in America, like CARE, Islam, NATE, the Muslim Student Associations, and others, are in fact enemies of our Constitution that promote Sharia. And we know this from evidence entered into a trial, the largest successfully prosecuted Hamas financing trial in U.S. history. $12.4 million specifically going to the families of suicide bombers. And the groups that were listed there are the major mainstream groups that our government continues to work with in many cases. The implications of the Holy Land Foundation trial proved three things. One, there was a subversive element in America that wants to replace our Constitution. Two, that it was a Muslim Brotherhood entity. And three, that the majority of the groups in America, as I just stated, were in fact those groups and part of it and are unindicted co-conspirators in that list. We have groups like CARE working in schools. Right now we're fighting a battle down in Tampa. 3 years this group has been speaking in schools, and CARE is one of the co-conspirators, the largest terrorism finance case in U.S. history, and CARE members were sentenced to 65 years in prison. 3 quotes, and one is from CARE member. Ibrahim Hoopa, national spokesman for CARE, said, quote, "I'm not going to tell you that I wouldn't like for the government of the United States to become Sharia in the future. I'm not going to do anything violent to promote it. I'm going to do it through education, meaning the schools." Brigitte's going to be talking about some of this. Dawanet, they said public schools are fertile grounds where the seeds of Islam can be sowed in the hearts of non-Muslims. And Shabir Mansouri, the group that is the Council on Islamic Education, the primary group responsible for information in all textbooks across the nation, said, quote, "I am waging a bloodless revolution in America's public schools, promoting world cultures and faiths." If you do not think that the enemy is going after the hearts and mind of your children, you're wrong, because that's where the cultural jihad is being waged. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking.
The reason why I am so passionate about this subject is because it has affected my life personally. As you saw in the video, I was born and raised in Lebanon, which used to be the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. We were open-minded, we were fair, we were tolerant, we were multicultural. We prided ourselves on our multiculturalism. We had open border policy. We welcomed everyone into our country because we wanted to share with them the westernization which we had created in the heart of the Arabic world. Muslims used to send their children to study in our universities because we had built the best universities in the Arabic world. They graduated and worked in our economy because we had built the best economy in the Middle East. Beirut became known as Paris of the Middle East, the banking capital of the Middle East. And we didn't even have any oil. We did, however, have brains. And then everything started to change in my country. Once the Muslims became the majority, especially with the influx of the Palestinians out of Jordan, they declared war on the Christians. And they formed their own army called Jaysh Libnan al-Arabi, the Arabic Lebanese army. And they started killing the Christians. My 9/11 happened to me in 1975, when the radical Muslims blew up my home, bringing it down, burying me under the rubble wounded, as they shouted, Allahu Akbar. My only crime was that I was a Christian living in a Christian town. I came to the United States and I thought I left it all behind me. I left the crazies over there. I met my American sweetheart in Israel. I married him. I came to the United States and I thought I'm going to start a new life in America. And I did. My husband and I had 2 children. We started our own little business in Virginia. And we were living the American dream until September 11th happened. And I remember watching the news on September 11th and the flashbacks that I had as I watched people being pulled from under the rubble, like my parents pulled me from under the rubble. People crying and wailing and screaming. I can remember my mother's screams, yelling my name, looking for me. I can smell the smoke as I watch the smoke on television. I know what that smells like. I know the smell of black powder. I know that smell of bombs. And I laid on my couch in my family room for 6 days. September 11th happened on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. And until Sunday, I was in my pajamas, debilitated, laying on my family room couch. It was flashback like a nightmare. And that's when I realized I need to make a difference. I cannot let this happen here. The problem that we are facing in this country is that people in this country are too afraid to connect the dots. Because if they do connect the dots, they're going to have to do something about it. Our elected officials are too afraid to discuss the situation. Our government failed to inform our people about what we are really dealing with immediately after September 11th. Everybody wanted to be politically correct. I mean, after all, we had elected officials speeding through red traffic lights just to get to the nearest mosques to tell the Muslim, it's not your fault, we know it's not your fault. Instead of calling the Muslim community on the carpet and saying, how could you harbor 19 radicals within your community? Don't tell me you didn't know about it. I'm going to shed a light on tonight for you